Dear listeners, my name is Anthony Clark.
And I'm Melanie Clark.
And we are
The Amazing Clarks.
We're both award-winning certified life and love coaches and a husband and wife duo that have been coaching together as a team for 24 years and that have been passionately in love for 34. They call us the Amazing Clarks because we empower people to live amazing lives.
And we're here to help you get from where you are to where you want to be in life and love. Love the Amazing Clarks is our personal love letter to all of you who love love.
And we definitely love love.
Yes, we do.
So, all right, guys. So now that that's out the way, let's get this party started. So today we have another amazing episode for you guys. We've been doing a series on our ebook that's coming out called How to Stop Being an Irritating Person. 20 traits that pushes people away and how to fix them. Now, we created this ebook because, as you guys know, we have lots of great in-depth dating and relationship concepts. But what we wanted to do is switch it up and give you guys something that you can get right away. You don't have to go too deep. We're going to hit the superficial stuff. Now, these are things that irritating traits that odds are, first of all, everybody has irritating traits.
Yes.
We don't always see them, but we all have them or have had them. And so we're no different. We've had irritating traits as well. So what happens is that most of the time, the last person to realize that you're irritating people is the person that has the irritating traits. And nobody's sharing these things with you. But in the process, we found through our relationship coaching and our personal experiences that most people don't see their traits and it pushes people away from them. It affects your relationships, your marriages, your dating life, your relationships with your kids, your work, co-workers, all across the board. So a lot of people end up going, why is this happening to me? And in many cases, it's because you have an irritating trait. And that's what most couples fight about. That either one or both partners have the irritating trait that they don't see. So because they can't see it, they can't change it. So what this book is doing is it's giving you an opportunity to self-reflect and go, maybe I have one of those irritating traits. Maybe that's why people aren't connected with me or I'm not connecting with other people. And if you want that connection, this book could help you. So, once again, this book is available on Amazon.com or you can get it through theamazingclarks.com. But before we jump into this main topic, and today's irritating trait is being a bragger.
Ooh.
Being a bragger.
Yep.
Now, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. But before we jump into it, guys, it's time for the listener letters. Now, this segment of the podcast is where you guys can send in your questions about dating or relationships, and we will answer them on the podcast. So, baby, today, what's the listener letter?
So this listener letter comes from Angela in Brooklyn, New York.
Go Brooklyn.
Go Brooklyn. We love Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So Angela says, I'm 32 and I moved in with my mom after I had my daughter. My mother is nosy AF and I have no privacy. The other day she went through my phone and saw a pic of my boyfriend naked from the waist down. Clark's, she had the audacity to comment on his big size. Oh, she just bragging now. Like she's one of my girlfriends. How do I get her to stay out of my stuff? Oh, that's a good question.
Sounds like she's trying to get into her stuff.
Right.
Okay, so good question. I'll let you start this one off, baby.
Well, a couple things there. Let's see. You are 32 years old and you move back into your mama's house. So number one, make a plan to move into your own space. That is why we leave home when we become adults, so that we do not have to give up our privacy because we're living with someone else. So I would start with that. Setting some boundaries. Have a talk with her. Let her know this is not okay with you. Tell her how it makes you feel. And if she continues it, because you're in her house, there's not that much you can do except for protect your own privacy. Number one, put a lock on your phone. Your mama shouldn't be able to get to your phone. Most phones have locks on them, so put locks on them. But I think the universe is pushing you here to be uncomfortable. Anytime we're uncomfortable with a situation, it's us being pushed by the universe to move to the next level. Your next level is living on your own, enjoying your privacy. So you're uncomfortable in this situation because you are in your mama's house. And I don't know about y'all, but most mamas feel like, you're in my space, what's yours is mine.
That's right, it's my damn house.
It's my house,
You don't like it?
my house, my rules.
Yeah.
And so if you know that moving in there, you know what you need to keep out of the house. You know you need to put some controls in place. I'm not saying that mom is right. I'm not saying that it's okay what mom is doing, but it is what it is. And you can continue to be upset about it, but you most likely are not going to change your mama. You have to find ways to adjust yourself so that you don't have to deal with mama's behavior. That's my take on it.
That's a good take. Good take.
Thanks.
Good take. So, my take is, girlfriend, your mama didn't just become like this. She was, odds are, always like this, and you knew it.
Yep.
And if that's the case, then when you moved back with her, for whatever reasons, you knew what you were getting into. So this shouldn't be a big shock or surprise to you.
Yeah.
Now, I agree with Melanie 110%. When you put yourself in that situation, you're going to lose a lot of power.
Yep.
And that's just what it is. To get, you got to give sometimes. You got to give up, your independence. Now, have a talk with her. I agree with that. But we can't guarantee you that talk is going to go well.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you really don't have a choice. Your choice is either to stick with it and just put up with it. And like Melanie said, do little things that you can do to try to limit those boundaries being crossed by locking your phone up, putting a lock on your door, keeping as much out of your personal life as possible. Or if that doesn't work, then you got to bounce. Bottom line, there's no way around that.
Yep.
And so it's mama's house. And if you want to live it by your rules and your way, the key is, like Melanie said, you got to get your own place.
Yeah.
So bite the bullet for now if it doesn't work and work towards your independence.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. That, once again, guys, if you have any questions that you want us to answer live on air, send them in and we'll answer them on the podcast. What I was going to say was that this is a perfect segue into the main topic, which is bragging. 20 irritating traits that pushes people away. And the trait we're covering today is being a bragger.
Yes.
So if you guys want, go back and check out the previous episodes because we covered the first trait in the first episode, the second trait in the second episode, third. Now today we're on the fourth trait, which is bragging. And the reason I said that was interesting is because she's from Brooklyn. And the biggest braggers on the planet are New Yorkers. I got to be honest about that.
From your experience.
From my experience,
Yes.
growing up in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And now, the reason we covered this trait again when we wrote this book was because we want to get you guys to see the things that you may not be seeing that you're doing that's negatively impacting your relationships and your dating life and your social life and with family and friends and on and on. So our hope is that you can see it, see yourself, and the book will give you ways to understand it even deeper and exercises and ways to change it, which will benefit you greatly in the long run. So when someone's a constant bragger, there's nothing wrong with being proud of your achievements. We all are proud of our achievements, and there's nothing wrong with talking about your achievements. But there are some people that take that to a whole entire new level, where they're constantly bragging about what they have is better than yours, what they did is better than you, and they're putting themselves up to make themselves seem more superior. In the process, it makes other people feel inferior, or makes people feel not respected, or not heard, or not seen. And it'll push people away from you. It'll ruin your marriage. It'll ruin your dating life. And so we're going to discuss that. And if this is you, once again, no shame in the game. We're not blaming you. You're not saying you're a bad person. But if you want more out of life, you want a better quality of life, then this could possibly help you. So open up your mind, drop your guards, and just be open and ask yourself, could this be me? Does this sound like me?
Yeah.
So, babe, I'll let you start it off about the bragger, constantly bragging.
Okay.
What have been your experiences with that?
Okay. So, I myself have been guilty of this. And I have been guilty of it from the perspective of, especially when I first started coaching, I just felt so thrilled with the results that I was getting. Like, oh, this is so amazing. I was so excited about it and passionate about it that I would talk about it all the time. And I found that my family and friends would go quiet on me because they don't care. It's not their life. That's not something they're interested in. And then I started noticing this is what I'm talking about all the time, and it's coming off as bragging. And so I just kind of stopped talking to them about it. At first, I thought they don't care. They're not interested in what I'm doing. And then I realized, like, this is a whole nother realm of reality that most people are not that interested in. So I don't need to talk about the results that I'm getting in my coaching practice. And I started just only talking to people who were interested about it, but then also making sure that I was asking them about their results, like other coaches, other people that were interested in law of attraction and manifestation and that type of stuff. Just having conversations with people that were interested so it didn't come off like I was bragging. So there was that. And then this is a tough one, but I noticed some bragging in you, Anthony. And we have had conversations.
Wait a minute, this ain't about me. This isn't about me. Okay, that book was not about me. I'm just joking, guys.
And we've talked about this where you have big energy too, and you get excited, and once you lock on a topic and you go for it, and you just said you Brooklyn, you come from Brooklyn, so you got that Brooklyn brag, and I've had to say, like, it's kind of coming off like we're bragging when we're talking to people about everything that we're doing, and you did a great job adjusting that. So I'm sorry.
No.
I had to tell you.
No. Thank you for putting me on blast. I'm done with this podcast. I'm out of here.
That's all I could think of was me and you.
The whole point is to
look at yourself.
We got to model what we're teaching.
Yes, of course.
Right. We got to practice what we preach.
Right.
And that's why I started off with growing up in Brooklyn. That was our way of life, to out-brag each other.
Yeah.
And I was in an environment where everybody did it. I mean, from birth.
It's part of communication.
I came in this world.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was the world I entered into, the world of bragging.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you're around everybody else that does it, it doesn't seem abnormal.
Yeah.
And New York, they brag because it's so competitive that's one of the ways you got to self-promote.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you buy into it and other people buy into it and boom.
Yeah.
So from wearing your clothes, you go outside with a pair of sneakers, you think like, oh, I'm doing it. Look at my Nikes. And then somebody comes over, those Nikes suck. Mine cost $300. Mine's cost, and then you get a coat, jacket. It's everything.
Yeah.
Your girl, you get a bad chick. Oh, this is my bad chick. Yo, your chick is ugly. I got 10 bad chicks. 10 bad chicks you got. And it's on and on and on and on. So I didn't see that as weird.
Yeah.
When I came to California, at 17, I brought that energy with me.
Yeah.
And although it did benefit me to a degree, at a certain point, once I started stepping into the professional world, it changed. It was like,
this is irritating.
He's being irritating. Okay, we know, yeah.
You're so
great. Okay, here he goes again. We're not. And after a while, I started to catch it. And I would come into the room and people would be like, run, he's here. Here we go. And so it started making me like, what's going on here? What's wrong? So it made me have to stop and self-reflect.
Yeah.
And then I realized like, oh, wait a minute. I could see how that can make people feel like that. But my intention was never to put people down.
Of course.
It was just to lift me up.
Yeah.
And I came from an environment where the perspective was, never play smaller to make others feel taller.
Yeah.
But it's okay to make others feel smaller to make yourself feel taller.
Well, I think you make a great point. This is a tricky one, right?
Right.
Because it's a thin line between bragging and confidence.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes people think they're just being confident, but it is not just confidence if you're not engaging other people. So think of it like you're pushing energy towards them instead of having this more balanced exchange.
Right.
And if every word coming out of your mouth is about how great you are and how great your results are and how good you are at something, and you're not engaging with other people, that's bragging.
Right.
Confidence is, I'm doing well. How are you doing? That's great. That's going good for you. This is what's happening with me, what's happening with you. And, meeting another person on that level, on that energy. But if it's one-sided and it's just a push, it's bragging. That's how you know the difference.
Right. And it's great once you know that.
Yeah.
But before, you can't do better till you know better.
Absolutely.
So until you have enough experience, you won't get that awareness until you're able to start reading the room.
Yeah.
So that was my process. And I grew up with idols like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. I am the
I'm the
greatest.
greatest of all time. And I'm the best.
Yeah.
I make the sunshine feel dark. I make it on and on and on. And it's like, yo, that's
Muhammad
how you
Ali
do it.
was definitely a bragger. He was definitely a bragger.
And then we saw how far it got him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's the path that
That's
you
how
take.
you do it. That's how you do
That's right. So that was my experience with it.
Training.
And so then I got to a certain point where once I started going, wait a minute, let me think about this. And then I realized that, you know what? I could see how that can make other people feel less than or feel smaller.
Yeah.
I could see how that can make me look like a jerk or asshole. I could see that. I'm still great. But I don't have to
tell
express it
everybody.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
In fact, I'm going to let people see it on their own. And when they saw it on their own, they wanted to tell me. They volunteered it, and they were enthusiastic. And I just said, oh, thank you. Then I had to learn this thing called humble.
Humility.
To play humble.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah.
Be humble. Sit down.
Yeah.
And so not to play myself, downplay myself, but if you're all that, it'll show.
Yeah.
You don't have to convince people or talk people into it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, why do you have to convince people to see how great you are? If
great
you know how
question.
great you are, that's all that really matters.
Yep.
You can't run around the planet chasing people going, let me convince you. Just be great. And also, why do you want to be so great?
Good questions.
Is it to...
Probing questions.
Yeah, is it to make people envy you? Is it to make people... Is it because of
Approval.
insecurity in you that you don't really feel like you're great? So
Yeah.
you need to project this image? So I realized that it felt like, for part of me, it was insecurity.
Yeah.
It was insecurity that I didn't get the acknowledgement that I felt that I was deserving. So it was like, let me tell you what you're doing wrong by not giving me that acknowledgement of my greatness.
Let me tell you what you're missing.
Yeah. Let me tell you what you're not seeing.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize that that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And that don't be great to impress. I wanted to be great when I really got it. My greatness is about me striving to be the best me possible.
Yeah.
Because I like growth.
Yes.
I like mastering things.
Yeah.
And in the process, other people's admiration comes with it. Or maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But either way,
And that always feels good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting that. Like, we're all interacting with each other. Of course we want to feel good. Of course we want to seek approval and validation and all of that stuff. But if it becomes like your whole personality
Yeah.
and your whole attitude and
Right.
you're dismissing other people and you're not caring about them, you don't have compassion, you don't have empathy, I think that's when it becomes a problem. So we're talking about people who just literally just don't give, I'm just going to say, a shit about anybody else except themselves.
so they can't.
That's when it
and they
becomes a
can't-
problem.
And they don't care about other people. That was the other thing I realized too. To start caring about other people, asking them about them instead of making it about me.
Yeah.
Instead of sucking all the air out the room,
Yeah.
let me make it about them too. And here's something interesting I realized too that happened. When I was trying to brag in order to prove that, there's like this line that's crossed that repelled people away from me, that actually took power away from me.
Yeah.
Once I learned to be humble and to go, let me share with other people. now that same big energy, people gravitate towards it.
Yes.
I'm still not a shrinking violet.
No,
I go into
nor
rooms
should
with
you
still
be.
big energy. I'm not trying to force anything which is appealing to people.
Yeah.
Because they know it's natural, it's real, it's not ego-based.
Yeah.
It's just, this is just me, who I've become. But I'm also, like I said, very aware of other people in the room and interact with them and want to know who they are. And the more you care about other people, the more they care about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have crossed over from bragging to confidence.
Yeah.
And so,
Ding, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding,
so
ding.
now you exude confidence and it doesn't come off as bragging. And I think that it's important when we talk about these irritating traits that people understand. We don't think any of you are doing this purposefully, and you just don't see it. It's always a response to something that you feel you need in the world that you're not getting, but we're just letting you know that's how it's coming off. And if it's pushing people away and you want people near you and you want relationships, you have to adjust, or you don't. You may not have to, and just accept that you'll live your life where people are going to avoid you and not invite you places, and then you'll say, why is that happening? Now you know why. This is one of the traits that could get that response from people. So it's worth a self-adjustment.
And there's different levels of this when it comes to bragging. So sometimes I realize that people are just so excited about what they're doing.
Yes.
That they'll talk about it a lot. And I'm still guilty of that, so I'm very careful who I talk to certain topics with, who I share with. So for example, if we talk about coaching or spirituality.
Yeah.
If I get around someone else that's like that, it's like I'm excited. So that person's doing the same thing. So we don't take it as bragging.
Yeah.
And that bragging isn't going, look how great I am because I get this concept. It's just the excitement of we can continue to talk about it, and back and forth.
Yeah.
But then if you're with someone that's not into that, and you start with that excitement, then that could come off as like, God, this guy's sucking air through a bragger. Here we go again. It's that. So I've learned to gauge who I share certain things with and who I don't share with.
Yeah.
And so that's made a big difference as well.
We were just talking about earlier that we went to an event and someone came into our group that had a different job than we had. We were talking about podcasting, and this guy came in and he was like, oh, look, this is how great my job is, and this is what I do, and this is what my company does. And it was like everybody in the group was like, why are you here?
Crickets.
Why are you talking?
Crickets.
This has nothing to do. But he was trying to brag so that he could feel part of the group, and it actually accomplished the opposite.
He was trying to impress.
He was trying to impress us, and we all wanted him to go so badly so that we could have the exchange, right? It's really about the exchange. So the way that you'll know that you're bragging or being confident is if there is no exchange. If you are not giving others the opportunity to share their wins. Like, we're all proud of our wins. We're all proud of winning. We all are winners, right? And we want to express that in the world, but we have to be cognizant of, are we sharing that energy or just dominating and kind of like dumping it on people?
Right.
That's where we're running
into problems. And one of the
problems.
ways that to detect, one of the scientific ways, is that if you're talking to somebody and their eyes are glossed over and rolled in the back of their head, and they're just they're not responding, that's probably a sign that you're bragging.
Yeah, or they keep saying, I gotta go.
Right. So
you know what? I gotta go.
And this is important on dates because it happens a lot on dates.
Oh, yeah.
The people we coach,
Yeah.
they don't see that they're coming off as, braggers or, narcissistic or pompous or whatever the term they want to use. So meanwhile, the dates are running off away from you over and over again. You're going like, why?
Yeah.
In many cases, it could be that. Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but there's nothing wrong with looking at that with an open mind and going, is this something I'm doing? And if you don't know for sure, ask the people that are close to you, that care about you, that can be compassionate.
Yeah.
Like, be honest with me. Am I doing this? Do I come off like this?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do it around their work. And when you're on a date, that's where I hear it shows up. Like, so many women want like a great guy, right? And they want him to be accomplished and they want him to be confident and all that. But I hear over and over again, oh my God, he just sat there and talked about himself the whole time. All he talked about was how great he was. So that tells me that it turned into bragging.
Right.
And the way that you can change that is like, this is what I do in my work and I really love it. I'm doing great. I'm really proud of my accomplishments. So tell me about you. or wait for them to ask you, oh, that's interesting, tell me more. Then you can start to share that. And in all honesty, women do it too. I've seen women do it. Like, hey, I accomplished this and I did this and I'm on this level and I'm making this money and all of that.
It's called Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that does have a huge impact because people are used to posting, right? And that's what posting is showing. It's turned into showing your accomplishments. Like I remember when social media first came out, it's like something like, tell me what's going on or say what's going on.
Right.
And people were like, yeah, I'm eating a sandwich. Now it's like, I'm winning this way and I'm winning that way and I'm a boss and I'm this and I'm that.
Look at me.
Yeah. So, society's kind of training people to do that.
Yeah, so it's easy to get sucked into it. Yeah.
But in real life, it's okay because you can scroll. But in real life, it's not okay because people cannot scroll you.
People will scroll through you.
Well,
Dating,
they'll ghost you. Yeah, they'll ghost you or scroll. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I think just being aware of it. I think this is a great conversation. Do you have more to add to that?
You mean if I want to brag about something?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm here for you. I want to hear all your bragging.
No, that was good. That was good. And, those are some of the reasons that people do it. One of the reasons I think people do it too is insecurity.
Yeah.
That's really, in all many cases, the main thing. They feel maybe in a childhood, they felt not valued, not heard, not seen.
Yeah.
So that's a strategy they use in order to be seen. Well, if I brag, I need to get attention, and that gets me attention.
Yeah.
And like I said, there are different levels to it. So no matter what level you're on, the key is to start, asking yourself, am I doing that?
Yeah.
And that's what it starts with. It starts with wanting to be better.
Oh, you're so right. You have to want to see yourself and want to see the things that are holding you back in life. And literally, if you just ask yourself, say to the universe, show it to me, you will see it. I have done it. I have asked to show me what I need to do differently. And man, does it show up. And I think that's one of the reasons that we felt so inspired to write this book is people are asking for more love, more money, more success, all of these things. And they have no idea what's holding them back. And so they tend to project it onto other people, but the people change and the event remains the same. If that's happening in your life, it's time to do a personal deep dive and learn some of the things that could be preventing you from moving forward. And that is our goal with this book. We're looking at ourselves and we hope that you do the same.
Right. So we challenge you
Yes.
to get the book, and go through it, and be open-minded.
Yes.
And in many cases, you won't just find one thing. For most people, you're going to find multiple things, which is great.
It's
which
awesome.
is great because you found a path or multiple paths to more happiness, love, connection, and success.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I think that's very cool.
Oh, very good, honey.
Good job.
Very
good job.
Thank you.
So once again, guys, I want to end it with get a copy of the ebook. It's called How to Stop Being an Irritating Person, 20 Traits that Pushes People Away and How to Fix Them. It goes way more into depth.
Yeah.
Gives you way more insight and understanding, solutions, exercises that anybody can use.
We love solutions. Yes, we do.
All right.
So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love and appreciate you guys so much.
So much.
So make sure that you are connecting with us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We would love to see you guys, and our handle is @TheAmazingClarks.
That's right. And besides getting the ebook available on Amazon.com and TheAmazingClarks.com, get a copy, if you haven't yet, of our book that's an Amazon bestseller called Crack the Code, Secrets to Achieving Your Happily Ever After. And if you're interested in becoming a life coach or just want to learn some skills to life coach yourself or the people around you, then check out our life coach training and certification course at Law of Attraction Life Coach Academy. And last but not least, if you want to coach with Anthony and Melanie Clark, then reach out to us at theamazingclarks.com. We can coach via Zoom. You can coach by phone or in person if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
And remember, to go there, you got to grow there.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Love the Amazing Clarks.